and welcome to the Tabletop Turtles. This is our UK Games Expo preview special. I'm going to be telling you about some of the games that I'm really excited to see at the upcoming Games Expo in Birmingham in just over 4 days' time. I'll also tell you some of the stands I'm looking forward to visiting and some of the games that they're going to have on those stands for demoing and hopefully for purchasing. Well, I'm going to start off with Dorfromantik. It's the Spiel des Jahres nominee for 2023, and it's based on the app or Steam game of tile laying, creating terrain, forests, fields, towns, rivers, and train tracks. That's basically all about unlocking achievements and beating your previous score. Quite often these games can be a bit lackluster, but this is a game that I have been loving on Steam since I picked it up, and I'm really interested to play it. I'm also hopefully going to pick up a copy. I don't know how much it's going to be retailing at, so I'm looking forward to finding that out as well. I know you can order it online for around about the £30 mark, so I'm hoping to be able to pick it up for about that. There's going to be quite a few retailers, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty of opportunity to buy it. I know Tom Vassell wasn't a massive fan, saying he didn't know whether he'd actually call it a game. But from what I've seen of its gameplay of laying tiles and completing objectives, beating a high score, I think it's going to capture it perfectly, and I'm really excited to play it. Then there's Books of Time. Now, Books of Time is the new release from Board and Dice. They are the ones that are responsible for the T-Series games, Talitum, Tiwanaku, Kenyu, and several others. They always produce a nice Euro quality game with lots going on, and or sometimes even something a little bit different, as they did with Origins, where you actually interacted with spaceships or space stations. Well, this time they've not failed to disappoint. They are doing a book builder. Yes, that's right, a book builder. It's a unique twist on tableau buildings. You're going to be constructing 3 books. Each of the books will give you special abilities. You can create combinations. There are 3 types of pages that you can put into these books. There's trade, science, industry. You add pages to these books to create combinations of actions, climb a civilization board, and they're going to be on stand 202, so that's Hall 2. I'm definitely going to be trying to grab a copy of Books of Time, because I do like all of their games, and I've managed to play most of the ones that they've released. And this is a very interesting idea where you're putting books into ring, and they're going to be ring binder type books. So you're going to open them up, and there's going to be rings there. You put the pages in, and depending on how you put the pages in, will give you different combinations of abilities. So that sounds really interesting. Next up is Fantasy Realm Deluxe. Now, this is on Wizkids stand. That's stand 21038. Now, Fantasy Realms Deluxe is a 3 to 6 player game, and the original base game was nominated for the 2021 Spiel des Jahres. This new deluxe edition has updated card graphic design and new art from, now I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Anthony Cornea. He worked on the Cursed Horde expansion, and this artwork is matching that style. So that's interesting and exciting. The Deluxe pack comes with the original base game, with all new art and graphic design. It comes with the Cursed Horde, which includes 2 expansions modules, also with new graphic design. It has the Jester and Phoenix cards, which were previously only available as promos, plus over 100 art sleeves to protect the cards. So that's a nice little bundle. And as I say, that's on the Wizkids stand in Hall 2 at stand 1038. Next up, we've got AutoBahn. Now, AutoBahn is one of the few games that Alley Cat Games will be showing off. Now, their stand is in Hall 1 on 714. Now, AutoBahn is a 1 to 4 player economic strategy game about building the German motorway system. You build roads, manage the shipping of goods, and promote employees. It's a heavyweight Euro game, so this is by far the heaviest game that Alley Cat have produced. They are known for Dice Hospital, which is a brilliant game. If you haven't yet played it, I suggest you pick up a copy of that. They have done several other really nice titles, which I recommend you pick up if you can. But Alley Cat Games for Autobahn, that's the one that's really piqued my interest. It's from designers Fabio Lopiano and Nestor Mangone. And as I say, that's in Hall 1 on 714. Next up is Moon. Now, Moon is the third in the loose trilogy of Streets, Villagers, and now Moon from Sinister Games. It's a 1 to 5 player, pick and pass, hand drafting, constructing lunar bases, to make them attractive places to live and work for people of Earth. Now, my understanding is that they have shipped in, I think it's 100 or 200 copies of the retail edition, specially in for the Expo, because the Kickstarter hasn't yet delivered. They have told from what I understand, they have told the backers that they were doing this, which is understandable, really, because this is a great chance to promote the game. So I think you're going to have to be pretty quick to get in there. So I'd suggest getting in there fairly early on the Friday and trying to grab a copy. That's my plan, because I want to get a copy of Moon. This one is going to be compared to Seven Wonders because of the pick and pass. But there are additional things. There are achievements, different abilities that will be coming around with the cards. And so there's going to be enough to make it different. And the artwork is reminiscent of the Villages and Streets. So that's another one I recommend. And I really do recommend you get to that stand nice and early, because those copies are not going to hang around for long. So that's Moon from Sinister Fish Games, and that's in Hall 1 on stand 574. Now, next up, we're looking at Hamlet. Hamlet is the village building game from Mighty Boards. It's a 1 to 4 player, medium weight competitive village builder, where you're turning a hamlet into a town, and you do this by building a church. Now, to build the church, in case you didn't know it, that's what makes a difference between a hamlet and a town, is a church. Or a hamlet and a village is the church. It's tile placing, constructing buildings. Everyone can use the buildings to refine resources, earn money, and make deliveries to construct Hamlet's church. They're going to have the Founders Edition, which will be available in limited quantities at their booth. They're also going to have the expansion By the Lake. Now, I don't know for certain whether it's just demo or whether they've got it for sale as well. But it could well be a chance to pick up both at the same time. Excuse me. If you want to see some play in action, I recommend you check out Paul Grogan's playthrough. He does a 4-player playthrough with 3 of his friends, and that's a really good way to get an idea, a feel for the game. That's what I watched, and that's what sold me on it. So give that a look and see what you think. Next up is what I'm tipping to be one of the hot ones of the expo. And that's Tiwanaku, I think it's pronounced. Tiwanaku. Anyway, it's going to be on the sit-down stand. It's a 1 to 4 player game that plays in about 45 minutes. It has a scenario disc, which tells you how to lay out the centre board with terrain and crops. The terrain tiles take up between 1 and 5 spaces, and matching colour regions do not touch even diagonally. Crops will have a value of 1 to 5, and each value has a different size or colour. So a terrain of 2 would have crop values of 1 and 2, a terrain of 3 would have 1, 2 and 3, and so on up to 5. And 2 identical crop values can never be adjacent, even diagonally. So on your turn, you can explore using one of your 5 meeples to explore part of the terrain. Or you can also divine, and this is where the scenario disc comes in, because there's a very impressive disc holder where you put the scenario disc in, and when you divine, you predict what the value of the crop's going to be, or the value or the terrain, and then you open a door and it will tell you whether you're right or wrong. And if you're right, you will gain points. But if you're wrong, you will lose points. And it's an abstract, but at the same time, I feel it's going to be quite interesting. At the end, you can also gain offerings to help you score points. And it looks really interesting. I'm really excited by that one. That is going to be on stand in Hall 1 on stand 986. That's Tiwanaku by Sit Down. Another stand that I recommend visiting is the Hatchette stand. Now that's in Hall 2, and they've got 2 stands, 538 and 550. 538 is the demo area, I believe, and 550 is where you can do your buying. They've actually got, I think it's something like about 20 to 30 games there this year. Not all new releases. I'm going to be going over there because I understand that they're going to have some of the Outlive expansion, which I want to pick up. Outlive is a favourite of mine, and I've been meaning to get the expansion for a while, so why not while I'm there? But the 3 games that are going to be there that you'll be able to demo and buy, there's In the Footsteps of Darwin, which is a 2 to 5 player game, and you take on the role of junior naturalists on the Beagle, and you're helping to contribute to On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. You're researching animals or plants, so flora and fauna, and trying to create the biggest impact on the book On the Origin of the Species by the end of the game. Then next up on their stand, there's got Tribes of the Wind. Now, I'll be honest, up until 2 days ago, I didn't know anything about this. And then I spotted it and thought the cover looked interesting. Now, that's not always a good idea, going, oh, cover. But actually, this one is sounding really interesting. You are rebuilding the ruined world and polluted world using wind to help you, and it's a hand management and tile laying. 2 to 5 players. Opponents' cards, the backs of their cards, can influence the powers of your powers as you lay cards. Which sounds like an interesting mechanic. Laying your card and what cards are surrounding it will affect what you can do. And you're going to be building villages, temples, and forests. And the last one that I'm hoping to get a demo of there is Qawale, or Qawale, Qawale, Qawale I'm going with. Now, this is a 2-player only abstract, and it's the concept, the theme of it is based on the idea of when you're out in nature walking along paths and trails, you'll often see stacks of stones that people have built up, and this is a game based around the idea of that, in that on your turn you will place a stone, and where you place your stone, you will move that stack of stones around the board, leaving one stone at a time on a trail. With the concept of creating, when you're looking down from the top, 4 in a row. So it's a Mancala meets Connect 4 style game, which sounds, again, really intriguing. And I think for a 2-player, that could be, a nice little pickup. And the components from the pictures that I've seen look really nice as well. So that's another one that's on my list. And finally, I've saved the best till last, is Stuff by Bez. That's stand 1T11, so hall 1, T11. Now, she will be having up to 8 new games being demoed and for sale. And that's including a new game, a game about seriously surreal creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises. And yes, that is the title of it. Now, Bez is lovely. She never fails to please, featuring fantastic fun games, including some new L games. So come along, show us some love, and you might even get a chance to say hello to George Turtle, because he's going to be doing some demoing there at various points over the weekend, and I know that he's really excited to show as many people as possible some of Bez's new games. So come along, get a demo, pick up one of Bez's new games, and show her and all the other volunteers on that stand some love. Well, those are what's really sort of floating my boat and what I'm going to be looking for. Obviously, there's going to be other games that catch the eye, and hopefully I intend to do a bit of live streaming while we're there, but I'll also be doing a lot of recording so that I can do updates after the expo, so we can look back and see what some of the highlights were. Will I be right? Will Tiwanaku be a hot property? Will Moon sell out on the Friday? Is Dorfromantik going to win Spiel des Jahres? We'll find out later in the year. But this is promising to be a really good expo. So I look forward to seeing you there. If you spot the turtle, make sure to say hello. It'd be lovely to see you. And look forward to giving you an update soon. Until next time, turtles out. Thanks for watching the latest Tabletop Turtles unboxing video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of new Tabletop Turtles content. Until next time, turtles out!